San Francisco, 1968. A shadow falls over the Bay Area, a phantom who will terrorize a nation, taunt the police, and then vanish. This isn't just a story about a serial killer. This is the story of the man who beat the system, mocked the world, and walked away. This is the story of the Zodiac. And just when the world thought the trail had gone cold forever, something happened. A new letter, a new cipher, a chilling message from the ghost of the past, right here in 2025. Our story begins on a cold December night in 1968, on Lake Herman Road. High school sweethearts David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen were on their first date. Parked in a remote lover's lane, they were shot and killed in a brutal, senseless attack. The police had no suspects, no motive. It was a tragedy, but at the time, it was just one isolated case. No one could have known it was the opening act of a reign of terror. 7 months later, on the 4th of July, 1969, another couple, Darlene, Farron, and Michael McGough, were parked at Blue Rock Springs Park. A car pulled up, a man got out, and without a word, opened fire. Darlene was killed. Michael survived, and he gave police the first description of the attacker, a stocky, average-looking man. But just an hour after the attack, the killer himself made a phone call to the Vallejo Police Department. He calmly took credit for both the Blue Rock Springs shooting and the murders on Lake Herman Road. The Zodiac had just introduced himself. Less than a month later, the game truly began. 3 letters arrived at 3 different Bay Area newspapers: the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald. Each letter contained details of the murders that only the killer could know, but they also contained something else: a cipher, a bizarre collection of symbols divided into 3 parts. The killer demanded the papers publish his code on their front page, or he would go on a rampage and kill a dozen people that weekend. His chilling sign-off became his trademark, a circle with a cross through it, the Zodiac symbol. The ciphers were a direct challenge to the authorities and the public. "I like killing people because it is so much fun," the decoded message began. The code, cracked not by the FBI or the NSA, but by a high school teacher and his wife, Donald and Betty Hardin, revealed a terrifying mind. The killer claimed he was collecting slaves for the afterlife. This was more than murder. It was a twisted, narcissistic game, and the entire Bay Area was his playing field. The Zodiac wasn't done. On September 27, 1969, he struck again, this time in broad daylight. College students Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were picnicking by Lake Bear. A man approached them wearing a strange, hooded executioner's costume adorned with the Zodiac symbol. He tied them up before brutally stabbing them both. Brian survived, but Cecilia died from her injuries. The killer then drove to a payphone, called the police, and again, calmly reported his own crime, even leaving directions to the scene. He had become bolder, more theatrical. Just 2 weeks later, the Zodiac took his most brazen step yet. He hailed a cab in San Francisco, driven by Paul Stine. He directed Stine to a quiet residential street, shot him in the head, and then, as witnesses watched from their windows, calmly tore a piece from Stine's bloody shirt before walking away. When police arrived, a disastrous miscommunication sent them looking for a black suspect instead of a white one, allowing the real killer to slip right past them. He even claimed in a later letter that he had a nice chat with the officers as he walked away into the night. Days later, the San Francisco Chronicle received another letter. Inside was the proof, a piece of Paul Stine's blood-soaked shirt. The Zodiac was not just a killer. He was a master of psychological warfare. He mocked the police for their incompetence, threatened to wipe out a school bus full of children, and continued to send a stream of cryptic letters and ciphers, including the infamous Z340 cipher, which would remain unsolved for over 50 years. The entire nation was gripped by fear. Who was this man who could kill at will, and then write to the papers about it? The letters continued sporadically. One in 1974, known as the Exorcist letter, praised the film and gave a chilling score. Me equals 37. SFPD equals 0. It was a clear sign he was still out there, still watching, still gloating. And then, silence. The letters stopped. The killings stopped. The Zodiac, the most infamous unsolved killer in American history, simply disappeared. For decades, the case went cold. Suspects were investigated, most famously Arthur Lee Allen, but DNA evidence eventually cleared him and several others. The codes were pored over by the world's best cryptographers at the CIA and NSA, with little success. It seemed the Zodiac had won. He had committed the perfect crime, not just once, but multiple times. He had outsmarted everyone. Then, in December 2020, a breakthrough. A team of amateur codebreakers from around the world finally cracked the Z340 cipher after 51 years. The message was more of the same, chilling narcissism. I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to paradise all the sooner. He even misspelled paradise, a trait seen in his other letters. The ghost had spoken again, but the trail to his identity remained cold. Until now. 2025. The San Francisco Chronicle receives an envelope. Inside, no letter, no taunts, just a new cipher, a drip-feed cipher, designed to be solved piece by piece, a slow burn of information, and the experts who've seen it, they say it's 100% authentic. The style, the symbols, the very paper it's written on, it matches. The Zodiac, or someone with intimate knowledge of his secrets, is back. He never stopped watching, so why was he never caught? The consensus among investigators is that he made one crucial decision. He stopped. He likely had a family, a job, a normal life. He wasn't a stereotypical monster living in a basement. He was your neighbor, your coworker, the man you passed on the street. The FBI believes he is almost certainly still alive, now in his 80s or 90s, living out his days in quiet anonymity. He blended in, he disappeared in plain sight. That was his ultimate trick. He didn't just kill people. He killed the comforting idea that justice always prevails, that monsters always get caught. Some legends are built by heroes, others are forged by those who outsmart the world. They operate in the shadows, not for fame, but for the win itself. They are the modern cipher, invisible, unbreakable, always 3 moves ahead. The Johina tribe understands this. We are the ones who think like the person who is never caught. We operate in silence and win while the world is looking the other way. We don't seek the spotlight, we seek success. If this mindset resonates with you, if you are one of the silent operators who value strategy over noise, we already know you exist. Every member of our tribe pledges a small percentage of their success back, so we can fund the long game, protect our own, and vanish when needed. The Zodiac case is still open, and for the right kind of person, so is the door to a different kind of tribe. Send your CV and a single sentence that only someone like you would understand to the email in the description. Thanks for watching. If you're fascinated by the minds that operate outside the lines, make sure to subscribe. You never know what secrets will be unlocked next.